My name is Tony Ukpo, and I'm the director of Mom, Dad, Meet Sam. Segi got in touch with me when they were developing the project and asked if I might be interested in working on someone else's script from a romantic comedy. And oddly enough, I'd actually met Segi several years before on a different project when she was acting. And so I met up with Segi and Edith in London, and the rest is history, as they say. I really liked, it kind of had an old-timey feel to me when I read it. It reminded me a little bit of the sort of old screwball comedies of like the 50s and 60s, and I kind of thought within a Nigerian context that could be quite an interesting subject to tackle. Casting was interesting. We already had Joseph Benjamin attached to the film, but casting the smaller roles, which are actually quite integral to the project as well, is quite tricky because the actors and actresses need to really embody a certain feeling and style that would sort of like fit with not only the subject matter, but also culturally to do with this sort of culture clash between like Nigeria and England. And we wanted to kind of have people that really exemplified those aspects in a way that accompanied the film in a way that would be appealing to a global audience. I wanted to try and do something that was your traditional romantic comedy, but sort of like subverting those traditional aspects that people are used to in modern comedies, like you get like, you know, in Pretty Woman or Tyler Perry comedies and that sort of thing, and take it back to something a little bit more traditional. And because it's quite a dialogue-heavy script, I wanted to kind of really bring across a visual style that would help to exemplify the dialogue and the interactions between the characters in a way that would be reminiscent of, but not necessarily, you know, harking directly back towards those older pictures. We shot in London and in Nigeria, and shooting between the two countries was quite interesting because we had to replicate some aspects of Nigeria in London and then some aspects of London in Nigeria. And they're two very different climates as well. And so that was quite interesting, trying to replicate, like, you know, the sort of African heat, if you like, in London, and then to kind of get that little sense of Englishness, if you like, with some of the scenes that were shot in Nigeria as well, that were kind of like going to crisscross basically between scenes and in regards to the film itself. One day was quite interesting because we had we had gotten to location and we had a cab scene that we needed to do, and we didn't have the actual cab get there in time, and so we kind of had to improvise. And then we actually threw in one of our production team to actually play the cab driver, and that was just the most amazing decision we could have made because it actually worked really well for that scene. I thought that was a really fantastic addition to the comedic elements of that bit, rather than having like a non-actor playing the scene. It is actually my 5th feature film, and it's very different for me because it's my first romantic comedy as a feature film as well, because I've done mainly dramas and thrillers and that sort of thing in the past. And I'd done comedy before, mainly in the short form, and so it's interesting to kind of come out and do something in a longer format. Working on a romantic comedy is very different from other genres because comedy has a very specific discipline to it. And it was interesting for me to work in a longer form for this film, especially when it was not my own script, because you get a chance to really develop ideas with the actors and with the writers, and to try and like get a synergy between all the various aspects of like, you know, physical comedy and like the dialogue and the actors themselves. And there's a very unique blend of things that needs to happen to make a comedy work. And I think it has to do very much with having the right kind of script, the right actors, the right kind of feel, the right mood as well on set. And just the approach to it in general is very different from how you approach like a drama or a thriller or something like that. And just have a lot more fun on set. I am actually working on a documentary project at the moment, which is like documentary fiction. And that's currently in editing at the moment. Now, we've been shooting that for like the last year and a half, 2 years. And it's a follow-up to my first feature, Paris 16. It's called Tokyo 17.
Where is she then?
Well, she's
I'm his girlfriend.
If I count up to 3 and you are not in that kitchen, you will see the other side of me. 1, 2.
On the solid side of the line, Biff